Welcome to EngloStories. Today, we are sharing a beloved fairy tale called Thumbelina, written by the famous Danish author Hans Christian Andersen in 1835. This enchanting story follows the adventures of a tiny girl, no bigger than a thumb, as she navigates through our enormous world. Can you imagine being so small that you could sleep in a walnut shell or sail on a leaf? How would you face the dangers that seem so much larger than yourself? Thumbelina's journey is filled with challenges, unexpected friendships, and the search for belonging. As we dive into this magical tale, we'll discover how even the tiniest person can show great courage and kindness. Get comfortable and prepare to enter the wondrous world of a girl smaller than your thumb, but with a heart as big as the sky. Now let's begin the story. Once upon a time, there lived a woman who wished for nothing more than to have a child of her own. Her heart ached with loneliness as she tended her beautiful garden day after day. Desperate for a solution, she visited an old witch who lived at the edge of town. "I can help you," the witch said with a mysterious smile. She gave the woman a magical barley corn. "Plant this in a flower pot and see what happens." The woman paid the witch 1 silver coin and hurried home. With trembling hands, she planted the barley corn in rich soil. She watered it carefully each day, her eyes bright with hope. Soon, a large, beautiful flower grew, looking much like a tulip that had not yet opened. One morning, the woman noticed the flower had bloomed. In the center, sitting upon a green cushion of petals, was a tiny girl. She was perfectly formed, but no bigger than the woman's thumb. Her skin was fair and delicate, her hair fine as silk, and her eyes sparkled like dewdrops in the morning sun. "I shall call you Thumbelina," the woman whispered in delight. She crafted a walnut shell for Thumbelina's bed, with blue-violet petals for a mattress and a rose petal as her blanket. At night, she slept peacefully in her tiny bed that floated in a bowl of water on the table. Thumbelina lived happily with the woman, spending her days singing with a voice sweeter than any bird's. She played among the flowers that seemed like trees to her and sailed in a bowl, using a tulip petal as her boat. The woman loved her dearly and created beautiful clothes for her from scraps of the finest fabrics. One night, as Thumbelina slept in her walnut shell bed, an old toad hopped through an open window. She stared at the tiny girl with her bulging eyes. "She would make a perfect wife for my son," croaked the toad. She grabbed the walnut shell with Thumbelina still sleeping inside and hopped back through the window down to the muddy stream where she lived. When Thumbelina woke up, she found herself on a lily pad in the middle of the stream. Tears filled her eyes as she realized she was far from home. The old toad appeared, pushing her ugly son forward. "This is my son," she croaked proudly. "He will be your husband, and you will live together in the mud beneath the stream." "But I cannot live in the mud," Thumbelina cried, her tiny heart pounding with fear. "And I do not wish to marry your son." The toads ignored her protests. They prepared another lily pad with mud to make a home for the young couple. While they worked, Thumbelina sat alone on her lily pad, weeping quietly. Her tears caught the attention of some friendly fish swimming nearby. They listened to her sad story and decided to help. The fish nibbled through the lily pad stem, setting it free from the muddy bank. The pad floated down the stream, carrying Thumbelina far away from the toads. A beautiful white butterfly saw her drifting and helped pull the lily pad to shore. For many months, Thumbelina lived alone in the forest. She made a bed from grass and sheltered under flower petals. She ate honey from flowers and drank dew from leaves. As summer turned to autumn, finding food became harder. The days grew shorter and colder. One day, a field mouse found Thumbelina shivering beneath a fallen leaf. "Poor little thing," said the field mouse. "Come to my home. You can stay warm for the winter." The field mouse had a cozy burrow underground with rooms full of grain and nuts. She grew fond of Thumbelina, who told wonderful stories and kept the house tidy. "My neighbor, the mole, would make you an excellent husband," the field mouse suggested one day. "He is very rich and has fur much darker and finer than mine." The mole was indeed wealthy and had dug an impressive network of tunnels. When he visited, he seemed taken with Thumbelina, though she felt no love for the creature who lived in darkness and criticized the sun and flowers she adored. As winter deepened, the field mouse insisted that Thumbelina should marry the mole before spring. The tiny girl's heart sank at the thought of living underground forever, never seeing the sun or flowers again. But she did not know how to refuse without angering her host. "You must prepare for your wedding," the field mouse instructed. "The mole has many fine things, and you will want for nothing." Each day, Thumbelina walked through the long, dark tunnel the mole had dug, connecting his home to the field mouse's burrow. During one such walk, she noticed something strange partially buried in the ceiling of the tunnel. A bird, seemingly lifeless, its wings pressed against its body. It was a swallow that had not flown south for winter and had become caught in the tunnel. "Poor bird," whispered Thumbelina, her heart filled with sadness. She checked more closely and realized the swallow's heart was still beating faintly. Each night after that, while the mole and field mouse slept, Thumbelina sneaked to the tunnel with bits of wool from her blanket. She covered the swallow to keep it warm and brought it water and seeds. Slowly, the bird regained its strength. "Thank you, kind little one," the swallow chirped softly when it could finally speak. "You have saved my life. When spring comes, I will fly away to the warm lands. Would you like to come with me?" Thumbelina thought of escaping her unwanted marriage, but she could not leave the field mouse who had sheltered her. "I cannot," she replied sadly. The day before the wedding arrived, Thumbelina's dress was finished, and the mole had cleared a special chamber for the ceremony. That night, she went to say goodbye to the swallow, who was now fully recovered. "This is your last chance," said the swallow. "Climb on my back. We will fly to warm lands where flowers bloom year-round." As she heard the field mouse discussing final wedding plans with the mole, Thumbelina made her decision. With tears in her eyes, she climbed onto the swallow's back. "Hold tight," said the swallow, and they flew up through a hole in the tunnel into the clear night sky. Thumbelina and the swallow flew over forests and lakes, mountains and seas. The tiny girl clung to the bird's feathers, amazed by the vast world below. They traveled for many days until they reached warm southern lands where the sun shone brightly and flowers bloomed in every color imaginable. "Here is where I will leave you," said the swallow, landing gently on a large white flower. "Choose any blossom you wish for your new home." Thumbelina thanked her friend with a kiss on his wing. As she explored the huge flower, she gasped in surprise. In the center sat a tiny person, a boy no bigger than herself. He wore a delicate crown made of gold and had shimmering, transparent wings on his back. He was the king of the flower people, tiny beings who lived inside the blossoms. Each flower in this magical garden housed similar small people, all with wings that sparkled in the sunlight. "You are the most beautiful maiden I have ever seen," said the Flower King, approaching Thumbelina with a gentle smile. "May I know your name?" Thumbelina told him her story about the woman who had wished for her, the kidnapping by the toad, the cold winter with the field mouse, and her escape with the swallow. The Flower King listened with great interest, his eyes never leaving her face. The Flower King fell deeply in love with Thumbelina. Unlike the toad's son or the mole, he did not wish to change her or keep her from the sunshine she loved. "Will you be my queen?" he asked, holding out his hand. "Together we will rule all the flowers in this garden." Thumbelina's heart filled with joy. She accepted his proposal, and a grand celebration began. From every flower came tiny people bearing gifts. The most precious gift was a pair of transparent wings that attached to Thumbelina's shoulders, allowing her to fly from flower to flower like a beautiful butterfly. "You shall no longer be called Thumbelina," said the Flower King. "Your new name is Maya, after the goddess of spring." And so Thumbelina, now Queen Maya, found her true home at last, living happily among the flowers with those who were just like her. The story of Thumbelina teaches us that despite facing enormous challenges, perseverance and hope can lead us to where we truly belong. Throughout her journey, Thumbelina stayed true to herself and her love for beauty and sunshine. Even when pressured to accept a life that didn't suit her nature, her kindness to the swallow, helping it when no one else would, ultimately led to her own freedom. This reminds us that compassion often returns to us in unexpected ways. Perhaps most importantly, Thumbelina's tale shows us that everyone, no matter how small or different, has a place in this world. Sometimes finding that place requires a journey, but the happiness waiting at the end makes every difficulty worthwhile. Thank you for joining us for the tale of Thumbelina. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and share which part you found most touching in the comments below. What other classic fairy tales would you like us to narrate next? Follow EngloStories as we upload a story daily so that you can look forward to our next video.